the guys from Ping, they've kind of shown me how much the equipment matters.
I just love that I can hit any shot I kind of want.
We're going to be able to tell some fun stories about what goes on here to help golfers play better golf.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Ping Proving Grounds podcast. I am Shane Bacon, joined as always by Marty Jertson. Marty, we got an exciting guest today, talking a little fairway woods.
We got Travis Milleman, so he is the chief engineer on the Fairway Wood family, so we couldn't have a better engineer to talk about this. He does know it all. He knows every nook and cranny of the 440 Fairway Woods. Travis, I think the listeners out there who follow the Proving Grounds podcast know that the 430 Fairway Wood pretty much dominated the usage on the PGA Tour. All of our staff used it. A lot of non-staff players using it. Super popular. Why was it so popular, and what did we do to make it even better with the 440?
Yeah, no, I think it's done really well on the PGA Tour. Shockingly, it did better on the PGA Tour its second year in launch, in life cycle of its product. But I think we had some stat that it won the fairway wood count. The G430 Max fairway wood was the number one fairway wood on the PGA Tour for 36 out of 40 weeks in a row.
Crazy.
Pretty good 9-month stretch there. And I think it truly is a testament to delivering stable flight. The Max fairway wood was the number one model, not the LST. So it did provide a really good ability to get the ball in the air with pretty stable MOI properties. So we felt like the players had pretty good distance control and directional control off the tee.
What role did, I see, folks go out and they see the fairway wood at retail, they see the sticker, Spinsistency. It might sound like some marketing term to them. What is Spinsistency? How does it work? How did it work in the 430? We made any changes in the 440?
Yeah, easy to say, right? Spinsistency. So Spinsistency is our variable roll. So it's the change of the curvature of the face from the top of the crown to the bottom of the sole. We vary the curvature of that to help people give more consistent spin conditions. So as we'd say, spinsistent. So lower on the face, typically with fairway woods that don't have this technology, they're going to launch pretty low with a ton of spin. So we've actually shaped the bottom of that face such that the spin conditions will be a little bit more consistent relative to a shot in the center of the face or even high on the face. So we do vary that to help add to the total effective performance of the club. It would even say, you could say it's a little bit more effective MOI, even though it's not going to show up on an MOI reading.
Travis, I want to talk about fairway woods in terms of usage because I feel like there's kind of a debate right now. It's like off the tee, off the turf. You're hitting a second shot into a par 5, and it feels like certain fairway woods are built specifically for one part or the other. And I imagine it's tough to build one that works both off the tee and from a fairway.
No, yeah. Speaking to PGA Tour players, they're the ones that want it to do everything from every place, right? Off the tee, off the turf. So yeah, when we designed the 440 product, we looked at where do people even use their fairway woods. We have a great partnership with Arcos, ton of data that we looked at for real consumers using our products and just fairway woods in general, and found it's highly correlated to how far do you hit your driver as to where you're going to use your fairway wood, right? So if you're a consumer, I think this is the approximate averages. If you hit your driver 200 yards, you're going to hit your fairway wood off the tee 20% of the time. You're probably going to hit driver everywhere you can, right? Because you need the length off the tee. If you're someone who hits their driver 300 yards, you're going to hit your fairway wood off the tee 80% of the time. You're going to be using it as a positional club. Every now and then you'll hit it into a par 5, but mostly positional off the tee. So when we looked at designing our product, we wanted to combine who is going to be using each specific model with where do we think they're going to play it, right? So LST consumer probably is that person hitting 300-yard drives plus, right? So we designed the face on the LST to be the tallest of the trio to allow them to hit it off the tee with a little bit more confidence. Whereas the SFT is, we'd assume, is the consumer that needs help, right? They need more distance. They need the ball to turn over, get in the air and turn over. We think that person is going to hit their driver 200 yards, right? Closer to the bottom end of the spectrum. So we thought, you know what? We should make that fairway wood shallow, keep it low to the ground to help the ball get in the air. So we're really trying to tailor the designs. In the Max, it's somewhere in the middle. So if we're looking at the face height gradient, the LST is going to be the tallest. Max is moderate. SFT, we're trying to keep really shallow.
Marty, I mean, that was the thing that stood out to me right out of the bat. I mean, the first fairway wood I hit with 440 was the 5 wood, and I was shocked how tall the LST was. And for me, that's great. I'm a little steeper with fairway woods. I'm a little steeper in general with my golf swing. I loved how tall that wood was because I felt like I could hit it off the turf and really kind of still smash it if I needed to. But, I'm a guy that's going to hit a lot of fairway woods off tees, and that's important. You get tee it up, you can actually kind of squeeze one out there. So I was very impressed with, again, the tallness of LST.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something that we've seen from some of our tour players. They kind of have a swing character. You tend to want to hit down on it a little bit, squeeze it out there. I mean, Louis Oosthuizen was one of our guys for a long time, played the G5, super
my swing gets comped to Louis all the time, so thanks for doing that.
Yeah, like Louis. You know, Hunter Mahan back in the day liked to deep face fairway wood. But Travis, making the face deeper, it doesn't come without a cost, right? Like if you try to make the face taller, your CG's going up, and as a designer, you'd be like, never doing that, right? Yeah. So what did we do to counteract that with the 440?
Yeah, we have fought for so long to get higher launch, lower spin from our fairway wood. So you see over the transition from G5 days to where we're at with G430, we've made our faces shallower and shallower and shallower, trying to achieve lower and lower CG so the ball gets in the air. With 440, the main desire from everyone that uses the product is we want the face to be a little bit taller. We love how it performs off the turf. We just want to hit it off the tee a little bit more than we are right now. So growing the face height is just as simple as making the face taller. But when you do that, CG goes up. Everything we fought for from 425 to 430 goes away, right? So we want to do that without sacrifice. Growing the face height, we had to do something else to keep the CG low. So free Hosel design is a really big one across the entire metalwoods family, driver, fairway, and hybrid, to help lower the CG, remove mass high in the heel, right? So it's removing the mass located in the high heel region. When we remove that mass, we could make the face taller, basically 1 for 1. Every gram we saved in the heel, we made the face taller. So effectively, you can deliver a taller face with the same CG height. So to perform the same off the ground, but you have a little bit more confidence off the tee.
What about the carbon fly wrap? What purpose does that serve? How much mass are you saving with the carbon fly wrap on the fairway woods?
Yeah, it should not be understated. We first introduced carbon fly wrap on the fairway woods back in 430. From 425 to 430 is about 10 to 12 grams, depending on the loft, right? So it's a lot of mass to save from an area, literally the highest point on the crown. We're lowering that mass. Free Hosel on the max and the SFTs is about 10 grams. So from 425 to 440, it's about 20 grams of mass we saved from an area really high on the face.
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, we're talking 4 grams with the driver. I mean, this is incredible.
Yeah, so that's the difference. In a driver, you have titanium. It's already really geared towards being lightweight. Fairway woods are steel. They're heavy, but they're strong. That's why we have them. So any gram, any amount of volume we can remove in steel is much more efficient in terms of mass savings. So.
Travis, I've always been a fan of yours, but you went up on my list when the forward it really started to come back.
Just
with
for
the 440. I think my favorite pin club I've ever had is a G20 wood. I used it for years and years and years. The forward is back. Why did we bring the forward back with 440?
Yeah, it's. I mean, if you look in the bags of some of our tour players, even the engineers in the office, you'll find a lot of 4-woods in 430 right now. They're playing a 5-wood turn down from 18 to 16.5 with a 3-wood shaft. It's been a club that we have all semi-built ourselves. The reason why we want to launch it in 440 was just to add it as a stock offering. So the 3-wood's 15 degrees, the 4-wood would be 17, and we've actually moved the 5-wood up a little bit to make room. Basically spaced them out a little bit to shove a 4-wood in the middle. So it's going to be a 3-wood shaft, 17 degrees of loft, and it's really geared towards someone who might need a little bit more help getting the ball in the air. Let's say they don't have enough speed to play a 3-wood. 3-woods are tough to hit for a lot of players, right? So they need just a little bit more loft to get the ball in the air. Or it could be something that is a really good play for our tour staff. Someone that wants a positional distance club. These guys hit it 310, 320, right? They don't need to be hitting their fairway wood always 285 off the tee. So a lot of them will self-gravitate towards a higher lofted fairway wood to hit a number, right? They want a gap to a specific number. So should be good.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the 4's in the name twice, so you might as well have a 4-wood as there as well. If it's 440,
make it 3.
not a 4-wood, what are we doing here, right? I mean, that'd be silly.
Travis, you talked a lot about players using our trajectory tuning sleeve, which kind of tilts the shaft axis a little so we can change the loft. There's been times where we've designed fairway woods with the sole a little bit flatter, so if you maybe put it in the plus position, the face starts looking a little closed.
Yeah.
Did we do anything in the 440 kind of counter that? And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, I think to your point, we've designed our soles really flat and our faces pretty shallow to chase low CG. Free Hosel design has allowed us to rethink how we want to shape that fairway wood. So when you add loft to a fairway wood, any club really, the face is going to want to shut or rock closed, right? For some players, that's great. I think we see, I know I keep going back to tour, but they're the people that I talk to a lot right now. Very sensitive to face angle for performance, right? Anything that sits too open or too closed instantly will not be hit, right? We need to find the right loft for that player. When we add loft to a fairway wood, typically it'll shut quite significantly, about 1 to 2 degrees for every degree of loft that is added. With no ability on 430, it's great. CG's super low. When it rocks shut, it's staying there. It's very stable. The RFA, the resting face angle we call it, it's very stable on 430 to its own demise. When we add loft in the plus, big plus, small plus positions, it does tend to sit a little close. So on 440, we decided to remove some of that material. Kind of go back to older sole shapings that allow you to rock back open when you do add loft. Something that we weren't previously willing to do because we've been chasing low CG for so long. But free Hosel design definitely did allow us to add in that feature.
So I think for the better player, I think it's like, hey, I get on a par 5, Shane. You're trying to hit this big banana cut in there. You go to open the face a lot. The lead edge rises up. You're like, oh, I wish it didn't do that as much. Is it going to do it less with the 440?
Less, yes. Okay. Intended to be less. So we really want to unlock. We have trajectory tuning sleeves. They're great, right? It's very simple, lightweight, easy to use design. We felt like we weren't really harnessing the plus loft settings as much as we could, right? So we saw a lot of people in the 5-wood turn down to a 4-wood, right? So it'd sit nice and open. We do feel like with the smoother sole design we have on the fairway wood and the hybrid, it'll allow people to, when you add a little bit of loft, it'll sit shut. You can rock it back open, still keeping the leading edge closer to the ground.
Travis, the fairway world has changed a lot over the last few years. I mean, I think about fairway woods when I was growing up, and you had a 3-wood, maybe you had a 5-wood, right? The popularity of the 7-wood and now 9-woods even in bags, will that be a part of the 440 family as well?
For sure, yes. I think across the market, we've seen a big trend of more and more high-lofted fairway woods and less hybrids. Like people are finding the transition to fairway woods a little bit more palatable. It's a bigger head, a little bit more forgiving. You get a little bit more height. The shaft is longer. So the person that needs help getting the ball in the air is probably actually better suited with a high-lofted fairway wood. And so that's actually going to be a big story for us. We added a 4-wood. We think that 4-wood is going to gap really well to a 7-wood or a 9-wood in the line, depending on your club head speed and the fitting environment. We can dial it in for you.
I mean, Marty, it's so funny because, when I was growing up, no good player would be seen with a 7-wood. I mean, for goodness sakes, a 9-wood was foreign to anybody that played golf. And now, you're seeing good players. You're seeing professional golfers using 9-woods at times in their bags.
Yeah. No, I think it's been great. I mean, I can't understate the importance of things like the Spinsistency because to me, it kind of brings to life thin to win. So you can thin it and you still have that great result. Right. I think on the tour side, folks can do this in the fitting environment. You can play a 7-wood with a 9-wood, fit it in there and put the 9-wood shaft in it. Try it a little bit shorter if you need to. So you can use the shaft length to kind of dial in the spin. So I think, we're gonna see a lot of 3-5-7 or the 4-7 combo. Mm-hmm. So those are great options in the Max family. Travis, talk a little bit about SFT, the approach to that. What lofts are there? Who's that for? And what does it do?
Yeah, the SFT is straight flight technology for those that don't know what the SFT stands for. And it's really geared toward someone who needs to help get the ball in the air. So it's a little bit more loft. So the 3-wood 16 degrees in the SFT family. So a degree more loft than its Max or LST counterpart. And it's really geared towards delivering kind of that rounded shape, confidence inspiring, a little bit bigger overall profile. And like we talked about, shallower face. We're trying to keep the CG as low as possible, trying to get the ball in the air. So we have the 3, the 5, and the 7. Space 16, 19, 22. Trying to get equal gapping between those 3 if you do want to add those 3 to your bag.
Yep.
But really geared towards the person who needs help getting the ball in the air.
Marty, dare I ask you what's in your bag right now in terms of the 440 fairway woods? I'm always almost scared sometimes to ask what you got going.
Yeah, no, I've typically been a 5-wood player, but I've played it in the minus position, either big minus or small minus.
I knew it was going to happen.
Perfect 4-wood for me. At 42 inches.
Okay, a little short.
42 inches, so it's a little short. It's an inch short. It's a half-inch short of a 5-wood and 1 inch short of standard. But that's what I've played my 5-wood at. I've played my 5-wood at 42, which is traditionally minus a half. In a 4-wood, it's minus 1 inch.
Always interesting. I'll say that. Yeah. The bag of Marty Jurtson, always an interesting one. Travis, we talked about the lofted woods, but hybrid's a big part of 440 as well. What should people expect with the hybrids with 440?
Yeah, hybrids, kind of similar story. We looked at, when we first designed this product, who uses our hybrids.
Okay.
We looked at all this Arco state on fairway wood. Where do people hit them? But with hybrids, we really wanted to know who is this consumer. And so we actually went no further than who I think are the best hybrid players in the world, LPGA Tour.
Yep.
There is a staggering number of Ping staff players on the LPGA Tour that play our 4 hybrid, that play our 5 hybrid. So we asked them, what do you need? What do you want out of your bag? And with hybrids, they just want more height, more stopping power. This is a club that is being used to gap between their irons and their fairway woods. It's replacing a long iron, so they need height. And so with 430, we felt like we do really well. Our hybrids do really well in the marketplace and on tour. If we could layer on adding a little bit of height while keeping our distance that we have right now, it'd be a big win, which is why we explored free Hosel design, right? Okay. It's the same technology, trying to lower CG in every which way we can. So free Hosel design takes mass out of the high heel. We shorten the face height too, trying to lower the face height. Like I talked about the fairway woods, we're trying to lower the CG. Lowering the face height allowed us to go a little thinner, so we save a ton of mass from the face, the Hosel. What we really were able to do with the really low CG was add more loft without having excess spin rate or losing ball speed. So it launches higher due to the extra loft, but still maintains the ball speed and spin of a club that has a degree less loft. So we're able to achieve a little bit higher peak height, the same carry distance, if not a little bit more in our testing. So
an LPGA player might use a hybrid on a long par 3 or maybe a second shot into a par 5. When you look at Arcos data for maybe an average player that has a few hybrids in the bag, where are they using those clubs?
Similar.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if you look at average club head speed on LPGA Tour, the driver average club head speed is around 95 miles an hour.
Okay.
If I look at the average of every Ping fitting we've ever given, I think it's around 85.
Okay.
So it's not that far apart from each other. So we have assumed a lot of the places the LPGA Tour player will use their clubs, our G consumers are going to be well suited in those places as well. So we would see the kind of the same trends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shane, one thing really fun with the 440 hybrid is we have when we first sit down to design the product, Travis's team on the design side, my team on the fitting side, will put our brains together and be like, if we could wave a magic wand, what could we do? And we went into the 440. It was like we want the iron peak height to be here. Mm-hmm. We want the fairway woods to be here. And we want the hybrids exactly in the middle, 50%, right? Because with the 430, we are seeing the hybrids be more 30% higher than the irons as opposed to right in the middle. And when we did our final product validation, spot bang on, the hybrids go right in between the fairway woods and the long irons. So the fitting is phenomenal. Now you get these three perfect options. You know, if you're starting to lose height, this is what drives all the algorithms in the gapping app, which I know you've used. We talked about in Ping Copilot. So I love that the hybrids go that much higher without going shorter.
Same distance, if not a little bit more in some lofts.
Because they have to keep up with the irons. So talk about that, Travis. What we do, the hybrids need to talk to the irons. It's not like the hybrid designers over there in a box, right?
We all sit next to each other. Yeah. So we've made some really great advancements with 440. Long irons in 440, I think we're quoting the 5 iron for certain consumers could go 4 to 5 yards longer than 430. So when we're looking at gapping between an iron that already is better performing than where we're at today, to fairway woods that we think are more versatile and have better fitting options and have increased distance from where we're at today, we need that hybrid to do the heavy lifting as well. So I think it is a true testament. Adding more loft without losing distance helps us get those peak height trajectory differences. So if someone can't get the 5 iron in the air, which we know are a lot of people, 4 irons are very hard to get in the air for a lot of people. We think we have really good options to give you a little bit more height in the hybrid. And if you still have a hard time getting the hybrid in the air, we make really good high-lofted fairway woods, right? So it's all about fitting. Copilot, the gapping app, is really good for that.
Marty, I think about, the average golfer out there listening to the podcast and hearing all this and wondering what goes in my bag, right? Because there are so many options. I mean, you can get fit, obviously, and we preach that a lot. But how important is it to lean into something like the gapping app and just lean into a place where you can type in your numbers and where you play and how your game kind of fits maybe the equipment that's coming up? And how do you pick between a hybrid and a 7-wood or, something like that? I mean, where do the golfers go? Yeah,
the actionable takeaway for the listener out there, number one, if you haven't done a gap fitting, go on to WebFit. Webfit.ping.com, log in. You don't even put launch condition numbers in there. We just kind of ask you some qualitative, easy-to-answer questions, couple minutes in there, and it builds your bag. It gives you kind of conceptual framework, not intended to replace an actual dynamic fitting on a launch monitor. But it's really fun to go there. It's kind of like your practice round for your club fitting. Then go to our Find a Fitter tool on ping.com, and we have a little filter in there that says, hey, I use Copilot. go see a fitter that uses Copilot. You're going to love going on the gapping app because it'll break down. You go hit 7 irons. The fitter's going to put your launch condition numbers in, and the gapping app will predict pretty creepily accurate, where in your irons are you going to start losing peak height. We have great algorithms there that says, hey, your longest iron should be a 6 iron or 7 iron or 5 iron. Then what hybrids do you play? What fairwoods do you play? And all this product testing that we've done to validate these designs is driving all that. So you really do get access to the same tools and testing that we've done right here at the Proving Grounds.
Travis, I love to ask Marty about the bag, but I know the four wood is kind of your baby. Is the 4 wood in your bag right now?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, for
yes.
sure. I mean, you can't
stay
out,
away. No, why would you? Right.
That'd be so silly. I mean, I'm probably going to lean back into the 4 wood world. I've been 7 wood for a while, Marty, but I think I might go back.
Yeah. What about Travis? Let's talk a little bit about the LST fairway wood.
Yeah.
What goes into the LST? Who's it for? Did we add anything new there this year?
Yeah, so we did. We obviously talked about the face height changes, right? We're trying to gear that club for someone who wants to hit it more off the tee. Big things, we have a new face material. HST 220. It's the strongest titanium we've used in a product to date, which allows us to make the face taller and thinner. It's hot. In our testing, we're seeing with some of our elite players, we're seeing over a mile an hour more ball speed compared to 430 LST, which we think is one of the fastest fairway woods out there. So we're layering on more speed. Carbon fly wrap. So free hosel. It's not going anywhere. It's there across all of our metal woods. We have free hosel, carbon fly wrap, our taller HST 220 face wrap design. And all of that leads us with a lot of mass savings that we put into our tungsten sole plate. Basically every gram we save from the design, we put as low as humanly possible on the club to drive that CG down. So
how much weight's in the sole plate right there?
85 grams.
85 grams.
It's a lot. So we have the 3 LST, which we've added a ton of new playability to, and we also added the 5 LST. I think it's been a desire to get a club that has 19 degrees of loft, gets the ball in the air, but doesn't spin excessively, right? So comparing to the max, it should spin 400 to 500 RPM lower than the equitable max fairway wood, 5 max fairway wood. So it's going to be good. It's another fitting option, right? You love those.
Yeah, we got a lot of fitting options.
A lot of clubs you can hit.
A lot of fitting options.
Travis, I'd say you did as good as that sweater looks. I mean, that's a good-looking pink sweater you got going today. We appreciate, obviously, the insight into 440 and the work you put into it. Like I said, I've been a 4-wood guy most of my life, and I'm excited to get back into it. The true 4-wood, by the way. I know there's been some quote-unquote 4-woods in the pink family, but having like the actual 4 on the head is going to be cool. This is the Ping Proving Grounds podcast.